Yo, welcome to the RIP 28 podcast. I'm your host, Beezy the Great, the educator's educator. And today I have with me two of my good friends from high school way back. My boy, the El Presidente. What's going on, Mr. Nesbitt?
What's cracking? Your boy C Nair's in the building once again. Ready to get this thing going. Let's go.
Let's go. And I got my 6'5" receiver / outside line, outside linebacker. Coop the Great. What's going on from the low country?
Man, you know we doing it on this beautiful Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Doing it live like we always do it. You heard me?
You heard me. First off, man, let us let you know where you can where we can be found. You can find us all over the place. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor. If you want to find us, the RIP 28 podcast can be found. And just to let you know, we are looking for sponsors. We are also looking for sponsors. We need somebody that wants to spend money on this great podcast to get their business more exposure from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, and many more platforms. That's where we can be found any day of the week. Come on, like, subscribe, share, let everybody know how great this podcast is. Don't just keep it to yourself. To steal a word from my boy Sly the sports guy, if you're not liking, subscribing, and sharing, your parents just not raising you right. What's going on with you, man?
Something wrong with you.
Something wrong with you, man. Hey, check this out, man. To get into our show very quickly today, because I have some things that we have to talk about. We are all former athletes. We all played on the college level, as we've stated before in previous shows. But I got to know, what is up with your boy, your twin, Dre, Kwame Brown? What is going on, man? After 20 years of silence and not being relevant, this guy has taken on the world. He has talked about everybody from the All the Smoke podcast, Michael Jordan, former teammates, former adversaries. What is going on, man? Can I get some thoughts from you guys, man?
I ain't never heard him talk before.
Never heard him talk until now. And he got a lot to say to a lot of people. The only person I didn't hear this man come at or talk about is my mama, and he better be glad. Becky with the good hair. Becky with the good hair. What y'all think about that, man? How y'all feel about Kwame Brown taking on the world, man? He letting it loose. He letting whatever's on his heart, he letting it out. How you feel, man?
That man fed up, dog. Hey, he been the butt of a lot of jokes over the years, man. And I mean, I feel him. It's like, you know, he was saying how poor he was growing up and everything. He like, shoot, y'all say I'm a bust. I say I made 65 million in my career. He played 12 years. I didn't know he played that long. But
I didn't realize it either until this came up.
Yeah, but he wasn't no superstar. He didn't tell them to pick him number one. Jordan did that. Hey, you gonna say, nah, I don't want pick me 23. I don't want to go number one. Ain't nobody gonna say that, man. You gonna be like, hey, give me the money. Hey, he just didn't pan out. I mean, and Gilbert Arenas had some good stuff to say about, you know, kind of like Jordan messed him up. You know, if you a number one draft pick straight out of high school, 18 years old, and you got Michael Jordan just going off on you every day, man, that's gonna drop your confidence. So he never really got the way he was supposed to be. I think he could have been a lot better than he was. I mean, it just don't work out for everybody like that, man.
Good points. Cool. What you say, big man?
Oh man, Kwame coming out the cut. You heard me?
You heard me?
Like they say, don't poke the sleeping bear. Don't poke the sleeping bear. Obviously, you know, like you say, he fed up. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, he floated around the league, you know, for a minute. So he got some dirt from everybody. obviously. And I mean, he just unloaded. I mean, I feel him though, you know, when you know cats on a personal level and like you say, they taking shots at you on a commercial level, which, you know, podcasts like we got right here, or, you know, anything, Sports Center, you know, all the outlets they got. You get tired of it, man. I mean, I ain't knocking for coming at them. I mean, plus, you know, you ain't getting no money and you got an opportunity for a lane, that lane open. Hey, these days of time, you got to jump in it. He all the way in it.
Hey, but after 20 years, dog, why now?
I think that's what
Money,
it is.
dog.
I think that's what it is.
Brilliant, but he was Kwame, like you said, Kwame Brown has been the ass of jokes for 20 years and he didn't say a word. I understand that, you know, you eventually get tired of it, but my tired of it would have been after day 2. I mean, we've all had
He had to fight somebody.
Yeah. You would have had to fight somebody, man. This gonna have to stop. I can't show up to work every day where I'm the ass end of every joke from commentators like Stephen A, who played on a D5 level and averaged 1.6 points a game. I mean, I'm not taking that. Whether I'm a superstar or not, I've done a lot of things that average guys that 98% of males can never say they did.
Yep.
I went straight from high school. Straight from high school to the pros. I wasn't a second round pick. I wasn't an undrafted. I was the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
How many guys can say that?
Not many.
We all played. We played at a high level, but guess what? We didn't make it to the pros. So it would have been day 2 for me.
Hey,
you would have had to put some respect on my name.
Hey, other than LeBron, was there any other guy out of high school number 1 pick?
About me?
LeBron
James.
What
KG? No, KG didn't go number 1.
No, he
was not number 1. No, he was not number 1.
Kobe wasn't number 1. J.O. wasn't number 1.
No.
Perkins out of high school, he wasn't number 1.
Maybe Moses Malone or somebody.
I was gonna say maybe Moses Malone would be my guess if it was another.
Yeah.
I mean, now of course you have a lot of guys that go one and done because of the new rules, but to be number 1 pick, man, that's a great accomplishment. And he's worth what? I looked up almost $10 million. So I wouldn't say he's a bust. I would just say maybe he didn't get put in the right situation because it was him as a 17-year-old with a bunch of guys like we are now, 41, flabby and sick. So you didn't put him in the best situation with him playing with a bunch of old heads, man. So I can definitely see where he's coming from, but I just can't agree with the timing of it. I guess everybody has that breaking point, and that was his breaking point. But when bro broke, he broke like the levee in New Orleans, bro. Everything came out, bro. Everything.
I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's one thing when Stephen A and Doris Burke and folks like that talking about you, but Gilbert was his teammate. You know, that was supposed to be his boy. And then you got Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes co-signing. He like, oh, not y'all. Oh, I know y'all ain't talking. And then he said something about, you know, Gilbert messed him off some money, you know, when he was supposed to get a new contract and all that. So
with the Lakers,
you know, when your friends supposed to be friends or teammates, you know, that's a fraternity. It ain't nothing but 400 people in the league a year, 440 or something like that. When they start talking about you, then that's when you get them feelings and you like, oh, I got to say something. And that man said a whole bunch of something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But the thing that gets me about it is, do you feel like Kwame is playing victim because he said all they do is sit around and talk about African American males, but they don't say nothing about the white guys? So do you kind of feel is it a lane for him to be a victim, or is he just speaking his truth? How you feel about it, Cool? What you say, big fella? You muted, bro.
Run that back.
I said, how do you feel if somebody said Kwame is playing victim after 20 years? You finally say something about people picking on you, or him saying that they don't talk about white guys that can't play or their careers didn't add up to what people thought it should be, but they're always attacking the black male. How do you feel about that? Is he being a victim, or is he finally standing up for Kwame Brown and what he believed in?
I mean, he kind of playing both sides of the fence. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he can kind of say he's the victim because the first person come to my mind when you say like anybody say number one pick bust is Michael Bennett over Kwame Brown. Michael Bennett that went to Cleveland, he ain't even in the league no more.
Yeah,
that's a bust. Like you say, 12 years for Kwame. Like you say, you can't really call that a bust because he survived. You do a decade in the pro sport, you had to been decent. Yeah. But Michael Bennett ain't even around no more. And then as far as like, you know, I guess finally speaking up for himself, like you say, I mean, he been in the shadows. And you know, nobody know what his money situation look like. I mean, to me, he don't look like he got $65 million from the background of the podcast.
he don't have $65 million. That's what he made over his career. He's worth between 8 to 10 million.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, he don't look like he's still, you know, living off of that $65 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, his background probably look like ours if you take off these ripped to their podcast backgrounds. You know what I'm saying?
You speak for yourself. Don't speak for me.
Oh, my bad. You got the glass chandelier in the background. My bad.
That's what I'm talking about. Bro, you better tell him.
But yeah, he definitely playing both sides. But I mean, like I said, it's a lane, like, the era we live in now, I mean, you got to jump in the run with it. I mean, he gonna be jumping right now. I'm pretty sure eventually Stephen A might bring him to the table. Somebody on ESPN, Fox Sports, yeah, they might even bring him on Blowing All the Smoke. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna put him in position. So, hey, it is what it is. If it worked for him, it worked for him.
I feel he's speaking his truth to him because just all that pent up energy and frustration over the years. But he ain't the only one who get talked about, man. They talk about everybody who a bust. They talk about LeBron, and he's still the number one player in the league to me. I mean, you got people saying he's sorry. I'm like, man, you got to be kidding, man. That's just what they do. That's just what they do in the media, man. They talk about you. You got to have thick skin, and you got to deal with it. But
they don't talk about them white boys, though. They definitely don't.
Now you got Morrison. He was a bust. He ain't in the league no more.
Adam Morrison, yup.
Yeah, what's the boy? Ryan Leaf when before Peyton Manning or after Peyton Manning.
He got taken number
Ryan
2.
Leaf.
Yeah.
But it was a debate between Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning. So I can kind of agree with Kwame Brown about they don't talk about the white boys that don't pan out. But we all know when you put yourself in the public eye, as far as being a politician or an athlete or an activist, you open yourself up for those things. You open yourself up for people to speak their opinion, whether it's a valid opinion, whether it's a positive opinion or a negative opinion. You opened yourself up for that. I mean, just like you said, he's not the only one and won't be the last one to face criticism like that.
You know what it is though. When he was number one draft pick, we didn't have Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As time went on, now he get on Facebook, he see a joke about him, he just scrolling down the timeline like somebody got a meme of him getting dunked on or something, you know. He like, I mean, this got to stop.
It's been a lot said about Kwame Brown over the years, man. Like from Stephen A to Michael Jordan to Kobe Bryant. But I guess everybody does have that breaking point. Everybody has that time in their life where they say, man, this is a damn enough. This is enough. I've heard enough about what I can't do. And it's like you said, to play 12 years in any professional league, whether you go overseas, whether it's in the MLB or whatever the case may be, you had to have staying power. It was something that you could do. So let's not lose sight of the fact that this guy was a pro athlete. So, I mean, we got to give him a break sometimes, but you also, like Chan said, you got to have thick skin when you open yourself up to the public, especially when you playing in these big markets like Washington, D.C., Los Angeles. You open yourself up for that. Luckily, his ass ain't playing New York. Because if he was in New York, well, he might have had to be on that 15-minute watch. And we all know what that is. That's suicide.
Hey, I seen a meme with Kobe yelling at him when in Laker uniform, and Jordan yelling at him in the Wizard
And in the
uniform.
Wizard.
Hey, they said he had PTSD because of.
Hey, he took a lot
Hell,
with those two guys. It ain't no doubt he took a bunch of ass kicks, verbally and maybe physical. You gotta have thick skin because greatness, they're gonna want to bring it out of everybody. Whether you an average player, whether you a role player, whether you just the 10th man on the bench, the 15th man on the bench. Greatness, they gonna bring it out you, man. That's just what greatness does. That's what it does. I tried to do that. I tried to do that for you bums in basketball and football, but y'all just didn't want to follow my lead. Y'all wanted to do what you wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? But on a serious note, talking about people getting beat and feeling a certain way, I was reading this article on this guy, and he hit the police. A white guy, of course, because you didn't hear about him being killed. A white guy cursed the police out, ran him over, told him how much of a bitch he was, gave him the middle finger, ran over him. Well, I wouldn't say ran over him, but bumped into him with a car. All while you have a gun pointed at him, and he lived to tell the story. He lived to tell the story. What y'all think about that? Speaking of being beaten down and standing up for yourself, how do you feel about that in the times that we've been experiencing, not only lately, but throughout our history, but more so recently? How do y'all feel about that? A white guy cursing the police out, running him over, which was resisting arrest and assaulting the police, but he lived to tell about it. Him and his, excuse me, not to cut you off, Chance.
And his wife.
Him and his passenger, which happened to be his wife. How you feel about that?
I think it tells a lot, man. It's I mean, stuff we've been talking about and fighting for a long time now, man. It's like like the one dude, I think it's up in New York, selling loose cigarettes or something. Selling loose cigarettes. You get killed over that. I mean, it's like, hands up. It don't matter. It seems like it don't matter. It's like, no matter what you do, if they think you look like a thug or something, they gonna try to use lethal force. But this dude was like irate, just going off on police, man. Like cuss, like he said they're cuss word in the book. And like just going off, like this. It was rough. Yeah, but nothing happened. The guy who killed them folks in Charleston, the teenager, they wouldn't took him. They went and took him to McDonald's, got him a Happy Meal and everything.
And Burger King.
Yeah, it's crazy.
With that being said, how do we combat that? What do we do? Because we're damned if we do, and we damned if we don't. If we stand up for ourselves and don't let them ragdoll us, they like the guy that the military personnel that was maced in the face. You think about Trayvon Martin, even though that didn't happen with the police. You think about George Floyd. I mean, these are and Breonna Taylor. These are people that are being peaceful. These are not people that are out here committing crimes. They're not out here fighting against the police and resisting. What do we do? How do we combat it? Because we can't just keep marching and saying is wrong, is wrong, is wrong. When is enough enough? And what do we do? We don't have the solution, but what do you think, Dre? What is something that we could do to combat that?
I mean, my biggest thing, I already been talking about this, like step one, I feel like they need to do a commercial, like literally like a nationwide commercial showing that you complying to the police if you get pulled over. Whether it's something like your hands attended to, all your information in the corner of your dashboard by the window, your window all the way down. So it's like you're not trying to hide in case you got tint or something like that. They need to have some type of commercial to show that you comply with the police. Therefore, at least you can start it on a good note. You know what I'm saying? Before it go left. And then on top of that, like you say, to take it to the next level, like our generation won't see it. But I feel like somebody like LeBron, Oprah, these billionaires, these jokers that got real money, not no 65 million, but some real money, like who can open up these schools and stuff like that. Like, make these schools like black only, and then make these schools driven to drive these kids into politics, into these seats, you know what I'm saying, to change these laws and to get some of this oppression off our back. Because if we don't become police chiefs, you know, we don't become Supreme Court judges, we don't become, you know, more than just the mayor. We got to be the senator of these states. You know, we got to get in these seats. So therefore, when this stuff start coming down, then we can drop the hammer on these police officers. But until then, like, they're gonna always kind of find that little gray area. You know what I'm saying? To kind of wiggle them out of, oh, we're gonna drop it down to a manslaughter charge. Or, oh, this happened, da 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 da. Like, it need to be certain consequences. Your body cam off, it need to be a wrap. You do anything with your body cam, I'm not getting charged like a criminal. Snatch the badge off, we treat you like a civilian. You murdered somebody. You know, somebody, you know, they didn't physically do anything, like George Floyd. The man got 8 cops on his back. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I'm sorry, every single one of them cops deserve life. Not just the guy who had his hand on his neck, had his knee on his neck, all of them. You know, hell, even the dispatcher who for Trayvon Martin, when the dude called, I think he called the police and they told him, like, no longer to pursue the situation.
Off. Yep.
Yeah, they told him to back off or whatever. Like, hell, even they need to be goddamn, you know what I'm saying, get a charge for it, because they should have, you know, sent the cop out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, this is a security guard calling about a young black man? No, hold on, that's too much. Let's send a police officer out there. Matter of fact, sir, hold on, wait on the police to get there instead of just back off. You know what I'm saying? They left the window open for him to do what he did to Trayvon, even though Trayvon beat the hell out of him before he killed him. But, you know, that was that. But yeah, I mean, it definitely need to be, like I said, a commercial. Maybe something in place to show that, hey, I ain't got no problem. I ain't, you know, hey, you got me, I was speeding, or, you know, California road, failure to use the turning signal, my tail light out, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm complying. Do not, you know what I'm saying, look at me like I'm some kind of animal, you know, because that's really how they look at us. They look at us like we some untamed animal that could jump out of a cage on themselves.
Quick question. What in our communities, because the way I feel is it's gonna start in our communities, and it's gonna start with strength in numbers. We gonna, as black folk, black and brown folk, we gonna have to stop being crabs in the bucket. That's where it's gonna start. To me, is where it's gonna have to start at first, because we have strength in numbers. We have strength in numbers. If we start coming together as black folk and start policing our own communities and start doing better by each other, making sure when if I make it somewhere, I make sure, like my guys on the podcast, I reach back and help them. Then y'all reach back and help somebody. They reach back and help somebody, and bring those strength in numbers, man, to where we can show a solid front, solidarity and unity. If they see where they can take a small population of black people and turn them against their own race, or manipulate their minds in a way to where they become against black people, we ain't gonna never get nowhere. We're gonna have to come together, man, and start policing our own communities and having our own things to show that solid front. If we don't get a solid front, man, we're gonna continue to fall for these things.
Both of y'all make some real good points, man. I'll add a little piece to that. I think it's just educating people, man. You know, as both of y'all know, I lived in Arkansas for about 8 years, and man, a lot of those people there only seen 1 or 2 black people in their life sometime at some point in time. You know, it's like all they know is what they seen on TV. Even I was listening to All the Smoke the other day, and Jeremy Lin was on there, and he said growing up, you know, that's all he seen was black people on TV, and his parents, you know, they see a black person walking down the street, they were like, oh, lock your doors, do this, do that. And, you know, he had to learn, once he started playing ball, you know, he played with black people. He's like, man, these people pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why everything on TV portraying them the wrong way. But then when you think about it, all the big producers are white people. You know what I'm saying? So they choose that narrative to show to the world. And a lot of people take TV as real life, but it's acting.
Yep.
And everything they see on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter is real life, when it really is just a small percentage of people. You know, you ever heard the 80-20 rule? where you spend most
Yep.
you spend most of your time on 20% of the people, because then the people who give you problems. Because I don't post that much on Facebook. I probably should and start saying a little more positive things, because most of the people on there just out there BS and talking crazy, want to argue with somebody and stuff like that, and fight. You know what I'm saying? Because they know they behind the keyboard, being keyboard warriors and stuff like that. So
Man.
this education and being more positive and trying to bring everybody together. I don't say. I mean, Dre, you said have all black school. I say get as many cultures and different people in the same school as you can, so everybody can grow up together and know that there ain't no difference between nobody. We all humans. We all human, no matter where you came from. You know what
That's
I mean?
right.
That's how you
I
get.
like.
That's how
Oh,
you
no, I'm with you with that. I'm talking about like far as like these, like more like a specific type of school to drive kids, like say to be judges and lawyers and get into politics, like us in particular. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, our black women, they standing strong for us right now. There's a lot of black women getting into these politics, and they moving up the ranks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I definitely respect them all day, but we need a black man to step up in there too. But I also feel like, to me, I feel like some of this police violence that's going on is trying to drive the black man away from politics, drive the black man away from wanting to be a part of the police department. You know what I'm saying? So it'll never be like another Obama. You know what I mean? To me, I just feel like it's one of them type of things that's going on behind the scenes. And like you said, they trying to control the narrative. If you look at it, all the black women, like old girl from Black Panther, no disrespect, but she bald headed. And I ain't saying that all black women can wear a bald head and get away with it, because they can. But at the end of the day, it's just like, why black women gotta be bald headed in the movie? You know what I'm saying? Like, why she can't have long flowing hair like Wonder Woman? You know what I mean? Or, they gotta have an afro. Like, we don't live back in the 60s no more. You know what I'm saying? But
because they want those same stereotypes that is always the like you said, the narrative. They want it to be the same. But check this out. I want to piggyback off something Dre said. If we don't have a seat at these tables with no representation,
yeah,
we got to get a seat at the table. We got to be at these big meetings so we can have our voice heard. If we don't have a seat at the table, dog, we don't have anybody to speak up for us, and they're gonna think it's just okay to go with the same old average that has been happening. We have to get a seat at these tables, whether it be in politics, whether it's in education, whether it's in the judicial system, whether it's on the police force, whether it's community activists, motivational speakers. We have to start directing our narratives from our perspective and stop letting people speak for us. We got to get seats at these tables. But a lot of people, what do you think about when we run for these offices and trying to be the police chief or mayor or senator, president? They're trying to expose your shortcomings or who you were in the past. Do you think that kind of hurt how black men are willing to step into those things if you have some of those things in your backgrounds as priors and things that you may not want the world to know?
But yeah, if you had to check the past, yeah. But I mean, there's plenty of black people that never been in any trouble that can get there. But so I understand what you're saying, but somebody who made it up that high, they had kind of, for the most part, be on the straight and narrow to get there, because you gotta go to a good college, master's degree, PhD, all this type of stuff to get where you need to be, and that take a lot of hard work, But you might have an uncle that did something, and they'll find that out too. You can't control your family or your people that you grew up in if you came up in the hood or whatever. Ain't nothing you can do about that. You didn't choose where you was born at, but they'll bring it up.
Yeah, it runs deep, man. It runs deep, like you're saying. I mean, that's a perfect example of what you're saying. Like, they backtrack your family, backtrack your friends. And that's why I'm particularly saying, like, a school, like shortstop at a high school. Like, most of us don't really do too much wild in elementary school. All us pretty much just kids just figuring out what's going on. And then we roll up to middle school. Middle school, okay, yeah, you start smelling yourself around 7th grade, 8th grade, whoopie-whoop. But you're still kind of in line for the most part. You might just get out of line because you skip class or you late to class or you kiss some girl in the hallway or something like that. Late back from recess, but we trying to we in overtime, you know what I'm saying, at the basketball court. But you still kind of in controlled environment. And then it's like, once you get to high school, and that's when the doors really start to open. And it's like, so we can funnel, you know, a group of kids into politics, like I say, in the law enforcement, the judicial system, and stuff like that. And then now, when they do backtrack, they ain't nothing there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just go ahead and stop. So now they transitioning from high school, going on into college, going to law school and everything else they got to do to get into these positions. So, like I say, the record will look good on the back end. But like you say, us now, like, it's too late in the game for us. We done did. You know, people got DUIs, people got drug charges, you know what I'm saying, gun charges, stuff like that. Yeah, you might have beat it, but like I say, as soon as you open your mouth, I'm gonna run for superintendent of high school or whatever, the school district. Nah, bro, you got charged.
Dre, I know you the story guy, but I got a story. It just happened in my school district. I won't say where I work because I want to stay employed for a little while longer. But in my school district, we just had someone run for the school board, and they went to her Facebook and pulled up all kind of pictures, dog. Like, I was like, what that got to do with such and such being on the school board? If she's qualified, she's qualified. But they pulled up all kind of dirt. Like, how can we let this person be around or speak for our children? Look how she's dressed. Why did she say this on Facebook? So we have to be careful. So if we wanted those seats at the table, and we know how hard it is, I'm not saying that we're going to be perfect, but we got to kind of limit that checkered pass if we're going to get those seats at the table and be able to represent ourselves. But before we move, I want to say here on the RIP 28 podcast, we are not all negative. Today we just had some topics we had to get out. But one of the positive things on the positive and new things we have on the RIP 28 podcast is my boy G5 Monsters 90s block. We have to bring a little bit of positivity to this episode. So we're gonna kick it over to the 90s block with my boy G5 Monster, aka Plexico Burris, aka Kwame Cooper. Go ahead, baby.
All right. 90s block is here once again. All right, we're gonna start off with let me see. We're gonna go with instead of movies, we're gonna go with television from back in the day. Full House or Family Matters. What you know about that?
Ooh. Ooh. I know we should. Oh, dang, that's a hard one, cool. You done came with it today.
I'll tell you, I watched both of them.
Hey, I like both of them, dog. But just because I'm pro-black, I'm gonna go with Family Matters. But I did love Michelle. I mean, I did love Mary Kate, Ashley, though. I will say that. But I'm gonna go with Steve, Laura, and the Winslows.
Hey, that's funny right there. Hey, I'm gonna go with Family Matters too, just because Urkel and then Stephon Urkel. But
Stephon, you Stephen Urkel.
Stephon
Urkel.
Hey, but you know, it's funny when you look at where they are today. I think one of them a porn star, all kind of stuff, but they were a little rough on the edges out of there.
Yes, sir.
But I love that show. I love Full House too, though, man. It was a good show, you know. And it's funny that the dad, that man, you ever heard this comedy show? Man, that man cussed like a sailor, dog. Hey, you thought he was like the wholesome guy, but that man, he raunchy, boy. He's something else.
And he was on what it was, America's Funniest Videos. He was the host of that.
Yeah,
hey, he trying to give us them dad vibes.
He's
Let's go to our next one.
Yeah, he's
straight
gangster.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and throw one vote in there for Full House. I can't remember the uncle name, but the uncle was cool. That man always had something going
Joey.
on.
Joey and Joey and what was the other one name, man?
Oh, the corner one.
Yeah.
But the cool one.
Joey was the corny one. Jesse was the cool one.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that was my dude. I used to always look forward to see what the hell he had going on the show. Yeah. But yeah, so all right, that was a good one. So we're gonna move it on to. I guess I'm gonna hit y'all with this music. The music. What y'all want to do? We got Maya versus Monica.
Ooh, Maya.
That's easy for me.
I'm going Monica.
I'm going Maya.
Yeah, Monica had more hits.
Hey, I like Maya.
Maya had the looks though.
Hey,
What? Over Monica? Oh
Maya?
my gosh. Yeah.
hey, I like Maya.
Whoa.
She had that song with Cisco. It's all about me. I was like, ooh, that's my favorite right now.
What? Man, you gotta go with Monica.
I'm going with Monica.
You gotta go with Monica based on the fact she had beef with Brandy. The boy is mine and all that.
She had beef.
Come
They did that.
on,
They did that. That wasn't beef. That was
They
money.
had beef.
Yeah.
But nah,
No,
she called. She was good.
I'm talking about the way they set it up.
Yeah.
And they was arguing, and the coolest thing was they was arguing over me.
Hey, it might have been somebody named LeBron, but not you.
Hey, check this out. Hey, instead of the boys, man, the real lyrics, until I said my girlfriend gonna get mad. You know what the real lyrics were?
But the LeBron
You can back up. LeBron is mine.
Oh,
I'm just telling you.
Lord.
See, y'all crabs in the bucket, man. Y'all
Hey,
Chance,
Chance,
Lord,
you know what he's talking about? You know, back in the day, the songs used to be on record. You know, you play it backwards to say something different. That's what he's talking about.
All right, we about to wrap up now this block. What's your next one, Cole?
I got another one.
I got one more. I'm gonna say the best one for last. I got one more for the
and
best
another one.
I'm going into clothes from back in the day. Triple Fat Goose or the starter jackets, the starter pullovers from back in the day.
Starter jacket. Hey, you weren't nobody in at St. Andrews Middle School if you ain't have no starter jacket. You had to rep your squad, or people ain't believe that was your team, dog. You had to rep your squad.
The
dog.
Los Angeles Kings, boy. What we knew about that hockey back then, boy. Chris.
I'm trying to tell you, dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with starter jackets too. I had the Oakland Raiders one. I remember somebody, man, we was out there hooping in the gym and somebody stole my jacket. I put my jacket on against the wall. Somebody stole it, man.
Yeah.
I ended up getting it back. But hey, I always wanted a Triple Fat Goose though. I think they was a little more expensive than the starter jacket.
They was.
So I ain't never get one. But.
Hey, the dope boys had the Triple Fat Gooses.
Hey, they had them feathers. They had them feathers inside of it.
Yes, sir. And the real feathers.
Yeah.
Goose feathers in them things.
You better believe it.
At least we thought they were goose feathers. They might have been some pre-made synthetic.
Feathers.
There was some turkey feathers, man.
Might have been some crows or some other crow feathers.
All right. Now this is the best one. I know y'all gonna trip out on this one. This sports. Joe Montana, Troy Aikman.
Joe Montana.
Troy Aikman. Which one you want?
I'm going with Joe.
Big Game Joe. Game Joe.
Yeah.
Undefeated in the Super Bowl.
All right.
Hey, until Tom Brady, he was goated. Until Tom Brady came along, bro. Like, I mean, he did that in the West Coast offense, dog.
Hey, both of them boys had some weapons.
Yeah, but Troy Aikman got him 3, didn't he?
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, but he was not. But he was never the focal point of any of those Super Bowls. Let's be real. Now. Emmitt Smith in that offensive line and Michael Irvin, and then when they beat my Buffalo Bills, it was the defense with Ken Norton there. Troy Aikman was never the focal point. Never. I mean, he was a Hall of Famer for a reason, but he was never the focal point. You could never say Troy Aikman took them on a run in the playoffs where he put the Cowboys on his back. In my opinion.
Yeah,
now you got some Cowboys fans out there that might think different. But for me, I'm going Joe. I'm going Broadway Joe.
When you sit and think about it, though, Joe Montana team was stacked. He had Taylor, Roger Craig. I can't remember the fullback name.
Carl Rattler, Brent Jones.
Man, that man had everybody too. Hey, both of them had a good setup. Hey,
yeah.
So, but I'm going with Joe. But don't act like he just did it by himself. He had a squad.
Right. Well, you know I'm biased. I'm a San Francisco fan, so you know I'm going with Joe all day.
Your opinion don't count in this matter. 49er man.
Well, I appreciate y'all. That wraps up the segment for the Niners block. That wraps it up for the Niners block.
All right. Appreciate you. And speaking of wrapping up, man, before we wrap up and before we get our parting shots, I got to let you know where you can find the RIP 28 podcast. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Anchor, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever there is any media, any social media, you can find us. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and share the RIP 28 podcast. If you're not doing that, something is totally wrong with you. You need to be evaluated. But make sure you go like, subscribe, and share on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, every platform, Anchor. You can find the RIP 28 podcast. And now we will throw it for parting shots to my guy, my boy, the G5 monster.
Oh man, parting shots for the day. Like I said, once again, man, everybody stay up, man. You know what I'm saying? Salute to everybody who didn't get the coronavirus. Salute to everybody who survived the coronavirus. You know what I'm saying? Quit playing, go get that vaccination. I know y'all talking crazy, but hey, look, you can't go nowhere without no vaccination. You ain't gonna be able to go up in some of these buildings without no vaccination. So, you know what I'm saying? I get it. You feel like your hand being forced, but sometimes you gotta do what you don't want to do sometimes. But everybody stay up, man.
Good words. El Presidente.
Hey, man. Keep doing what y'all doing out there, fellas. Hey, like I say, just try to keep educating people, man. You know, like Dre said earlier, might not happen in our lifetime, but we just got to keep pushing forward, man, and just educating people on equality and just making this world a better place.
That's what I'm talking about. And for everyone out there listening, we want to thank you for joining us, listening to us, like, subscribing, and sharing the RIP 28 podcast. And what we want you to do is make sure you are telling everybody about the RIP 28 podcast. Let them know where you can find the great podcast, the RIP 28 podcast. And for everybody out there listening, and for everyone that's not on the podcast, that's a part of the RIP 28 podcast, we thank you also. And we would say we're going to chunk you to deuces. Holla.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Freedom.
But I say, boy, I hear nothing. I don't hear nothing